How's everyone doing? Do you guys have dreams of going to space? For a lot of us, this was a childhood dream, for myself especially. And I want you guys to know it's not as unrealistic as you might think. Today we're going to talk about why the government should be increasing funding for us to go to space and why we actually need to, and how to make that a possibility, and things that we can do to help make that a possibility. Space exploration has the potential to change the way we prioritize resources and prepare for the future. So to start off talking about our need, the Earth is running out of resources, and I think that's a pretty well-known fact. So there's this thing that I discovered in my research called Earth Overshoot Day, and it's the day that the Earth uses all its resources that were allotted for that fiscal year. So for us, for 2016, the overshoot day is August 8th. Last year for 2015, it was August 12th. And then I'm not sure what it was the year before that, but I can only assume that it was further in the year. So the trend seems to be like we're using our resources faster each year. And you guys can obviously see the trend in that we will eventually use that entire year's resources before the year begins. And the only place those resources are going to come from are future generations or future years. So we're taking from the future by the way that we're living today, if that makes sense. So we're running out of resources, obviously, and then in conjunction with that is the amount of people on Earth isn't decreasing. Not that I want there to be less people, but there's just a lot of people on Earth. There's about 7 billion people on Earth, and I think that the Earth is like, some guy said the Earth is designed to handle like 6.5 billion people. So that 500 million people, I guess, is what put us over the edge to overpopulation. So that's one of the problems we're facing. Another one is just that we don't have a consistent, reliable energy source. So we're using a lot of fossil fuels, and those are obviously going to run out at some point, and then what? So there's some problems we have today and why we should be, I think, space exploration could help to solve some of those problems. So one of the ways that we've come up with is just the colonization of Mars. And that's another one of those things that people have been talking about forever, but didn't really seem like a real possibility. I think a lot of you guys saw The Martian, and that was super cool, and the way he finessed his way through, I think that 200 or 300 days he was stuck on Mars was really cool, but that's not as far-fetched as I thought it to be in the movie prior to doing this research. Because there's a lot of similarities between Mars and Earth as far as like the soil and the distance from the sun and the length of the day. It's all very similar to Earth, so I think the transition from Earth to any planet in our solar system, Mars would by far be the easiest. And then SpaceX, if you guys don't know, is privately funded, like government space association, similar to NASA. So they actually just recently had a contract signed with NASA, but they're in the next year or two, I think, are going to be conducting a launch. I'm not either to the moon or Mars, so I guess that in my eyes they're the forefront in our journey back into space. Since we fell off towards the end of the Cold War, we haven't really been doing a whole lot as far as actually getting people out there. And then another solution for the reliable energy source problem that we had was constant solar power that we would be able to achieve through consistently having satellites in space and being able to draw direct energy from the sun 24 hours a day. So that'll solve some of the problems we have with that, and should alleviate. And it's a lot cleaner energy, so we won't do as much harm to the Earth through solar power. These are all achievable ideas. So things that we could be doing, like us as individuals today, is just to take a genuine interest and take note of like the actual state of the world and some of the problems we're facing. Not to scare anyone, but these are real problems that we're living in. And a lot of times, I know myself, we can get caught up in our own little bubble and things that are going on in our world and things that directly affect us. And while we are running out of resources, we haven't ran out yet, so it doesn't seem like a problem to a lot of us. But it will be a problem sooner than I think we realize. So I think just taking a genuine interest in that, and maybe even like the little things like recycling or carpooling or things like that, can make it may not seem like a lot, but if a large group of people are doing that, I think it can make a really big impact, because the way that we're living today doesn't look good for the future. The future looks pretty bleak. So that's my challenge to you guys, to just care, really. Thank you so much for your time. My sources were energy.gov, Universe Today, weather.com, and space.com.